Hello my quilting friends! Leah Day here with a new video for the machine quilting block party. Today we're learning how to piece a beautiful glitter star block, and you can click right here to find this quilt pattern available at leahday.com. So this block has lots of little units, so let's first start with our corner units, learning how to piece them step by step together. To get started with our glitter star block, we're going to begin with the corner units. And to do this, just prep up your fabric B little squares and you're going to place them in the corner of a larger fabric D square and draw a diagonal line from corner to corner. We're going to take this to our machine and stitch carefully right on top of that line. So I'm just double checking that that side, corner, everything is in nice alignment. I'm going to slip it right underneath my foot and stitch on the line. So just stay right on that line. We're going to be doing a whole lot of stitching like this, where we mark a line and stitch right on top of it. We get to the end, and I like to stitch right onto a scrap charger, and that keeps my threads really nice and organized. So with this seam stitched, I'm just going to flip over the top part of that square so it reaches the corner, and give it a good finger crease. Crease it with your thumbnail, your fingernail, and then give it a press with a hot, dry iron. Now, one final step for this corner unit is to trim away this little extra bit of fabric that we don't need. And I'm just trimming away that little bit of fabric B. I am not trimming away the background square, because here's the thing about units like this. When you leave the square full size, then no matter how accurate or inaccurate this triangle pieced on, we know that the unit's going to still be the correct size. So by not trimming it back, we know that this is going to come out just exactly the size it needs to. So create 4 of these, and next let's move on to the center unit. For the center unit, we're going to create some flying geese. We're going to start by placing a fabric C smaller square on top of a fabric D rectangle. And again, we've marked a diagonal line from corner to corner. You're going to take this to your machine and stitch from the center section out to the point. So I'm going to slip this right underneath the machine, right underneath the foot, and start stitching carefully right on that line. And the reason that I start in the middle and work my way to the corners, because when you start on the corner, oftentimes it gets kind of sucked down in the machine and makes a really big mess. It's just easier to get started in the middle and stitch outward, and then any kind of trickiness or finickiness gets sorted out along the way. And I do like to stitch onto these little scraps. It just keeps everything organized, wastes less bobbin thread, and again, it also stops my machine from gagging right at the beginning or end of any line of stitching. Next, we're going to fold down that bit of fabric to create our triangle and give it a good finger crease. And again, we have a little bit of extra fabric here. This little bit of fabric C, you want to trim that away. But also, again, just like before with the corner unit, we're going to leave our background rectangle the same size. So here's what it's going to look like. You can see I've trimmed that away close to the stitching, flipped over the fabric so it looks nice. It's ready to go for the next triangle. So we're going to place another square over that side. And again, it's marked from corner to corner. We're going to take this to the machine and stitch from the center out. So I'm slipping all those layers right underneath the foot, trying to stay right on top of that line. If you accidentally err on either side of the line, like I've met people that just have not been able to stitch right on it, err on the side down here of the triangle, not on the side that you're flipping over. And sometimes that actually makes it even a little bit more accurate. So that helps at all. I hope it does. Again, we're going to fold down that top part of the square and give it a good finger crease. And that's just encouraging all the fabric that can fold over to fold over and reach that corner. Give it a press with a hot iron. And then again, trim away this extra little flap of fabric. Just going to reduce bulk and make it that much easier to piece within our quilt. So that's how you create a flying geese unit. You're going to need 2 of these with the fabric D rectangle and fabric C squares, create 2, and then line them up together and stitch that seam and your center unit will be complete. So we've learned how to create flying geese units, and we're going to do this exact same thing as we create our side units. You're going to create sides using a fabric B rectangle and fabric A squares, and you're going to create 4 flying geese units that look like this. Then you're going to create another 4 flying geese units that look like this with a fabric C rectangle and fabric D squares. So don't get confused between our center unit, which is the opposite of the flying geese that are needed for our side units. So don't get confused. So now you're going to take one of the fabric C flying geese and one of the fabric B. We'll flip over the top, take this to our machine, and stitch these together. So I'm just making sure that I have the corners and edges nicely aligned. I'm going to slip it right underneath my foot, next to my needle, and begin stitching. And pretty much as soon as I get my needle into something, I'll usually start taking a look at the bottom end, just making sure that things are aligned all the way down to the corner, to the end of the piece. So I am just finger pressing this open nice and flat. It is a pretty bulky seam, so take your time finger pressing that open, then hit it with a hot dry iron. And you want to create 4 side units that look like this. Be really careful, refer to your pattern to make sure that you get your flying geese going in the right direction. It's really easy to piece these in correctly. So watch your pattern and piece 4 of these and we'll be ready to lay out our block. To arrange our blocks, we're going to place our side units all around that center unit and then place these corner units with the triangles pointing outward. So there we go. That is our glitter star block. To put this together, you're just going to piece these pieces together into rows, then piece the rows together, making sure to match your seams. And here's what it looks like whenever you finish your glitter star block. So that's it for our glitter star block. You can click right here to find this quilt pattern at leahday.com. Comes with all the instructions plus a handy guide for marking your quilt pattern on the surface. So if you really like to learn how to piece and quilt this block with me, definitely check out the quilt pattern and of course ask any questions you have in the comments below. I'm always here to answer your questions about machine quilting so that you can learn and master this wonderful craft. Don't forget to subscribe to my videos on YouTube so you don't miss out on any new quilting videos I come out with every week. Until next time, let's go quilt.